Welcome to the Afterspin, opinions from thought leaders in our state. I want to ask John Hood and Chris Fitzsimon. State Superintendent of Public Instruction Mark Johnson announced that the state's going to spend $6 million in unspent money to purchase iPads for teachers in kindergarten through third grade. The hope is these devices will help teachers track student reading levels. Do you think this will help improve reading? And if so, how? Chris, I'll start with you.
Well, I hope so, but there's a couple of things about this that I think haven't gotten enough publicity. A lot of these teachers already have Google Chrome books or tablets. They already have them, number one. Number two, it's interesting the General Assembly goes crazy when state agencies spend money, unspent money, without, they always want a lot more authority in how this money is spent. It looks like he made this decision on his own. I actually think this is a developing story, and you will hear more about this, about how this came to happen. This was not an accident. And I don't actually think that superintendent wanted this released at this point.
Is there something here you know can't say, or?
Well, we'll see.
All right, John Hood, give us your take on this.
I'm not aware of any significant body of evidence suggesting that the use of technology is related to success in reading instruction. It's possible. As Chris said, there already are Google devices. Of course, those are inferior to Apple devices, I will have to say. But I'm not persuaded.
Are you pandering, John?
I am. I'm pandering to what may be our next big employer in North Carolina. We'll find out.
All right.
But what I will say is that the superintendent's argument was there was money that was allocated for various purposes that was not spent properly, so that money is accumulated. Here's what we're going to do with it. I'm interested to find out more about both that claim about the money not being spent as appropriate by the legislature over years, and the alternatives that were considered other than spending it on the iPads.
Do either of you find it sort of interesting that the legislature directed and forced Superintendent Johnson to cut the state budget during this past year? Not $6 million, but to cut the state budget for education, and yet here we've got $6 million we can spend on iPads.
I do think it would have been, and remember the place where he cut was the staff members largely who help low-income schools who were struggling. It would have been interesting if he would have made the argument, for one time I'm going to spend as much of this as I can to replace those people and then go back to the General Assembly and make his case if he was going to use the money as he could. I think that's a great point.
Interesting. John, you find that relevant at all?
It's relevant, but I actually would be concerned about using one-time money to fund positions that are recurring. I mean, maybe you could do that and say, I'm only going to do this briefly while I try to convince the legislature to do something else, but I'm not sure that actually would have been wise budgeting either.
One thing I think we can say is that Superintendent Johnson has had an interesting couple of years since he took office, and I'm sure we'll talk more about that later. Well, thank you for watching the Afterspin. We'll have more video all during the week on ncspin.com.